Hey guys, so I've got an iPhone 8 Plus here. Here's the new screen that we're using for it, and here's the phone itself. One of the things is a lot of times they have these screen stickers. You want to just make sure and kind of hold that ribbon cable while you pull those off. Also make sure to pull any of these, screen protector type things off the back. Make sure that's covered as well. And sometimes they don't cover up some gold dots here. If that happens, you want to use some Captain tape or something similar to that to just make sure it doesn't conduct any electricity or shorts when you put the metal frame on top of this right here. So we'll get started. Tools you'll need, like most videos, it's going to be, this is a tri-wing screwdriver. This is a Torx 1.5 Phillips screwdriver. And then I've got like an X-Acto knife and a set of tweezers, so you can use pretty much any of those. A couple things. Hopefully the video is actually in the right orientation. It's a little tougher. The way that I've got my system set up right now is just, I've got to make improvements, but just kind of getting started, so I hope you guys bear with me and just try to learn as much as you can from these videos. So I pulled the two bottom screws out. Now one of the hardest things here is getting this screen off. It's got a good seal on it. Also, you got to be very careful with the home button. Make sure not to cause any damage. When you're talking about iPhone 7s and above, any damage to the home button pretty much requires you to take it back to Apple and have them reprogram it. And if you run a shop, you know what I'm talking about. It's one of the last things you want to happen. You don't want to have to tell the customer that you screwed it up and that they're going to have to take it back to Apple in order to get their home button to work again, or their phone to work. So I use that X-Acto knife like that, and I just kind of go around to help peel the screen up so I can get the screen off. Up here at the top, it's got a lip underneath that where you're having to pull stuff out. So you want to kind of make sure and work that kind of easy so that you don't rip anything, any ribbon cables or anything like that when you pull the screen off. Your flex on your 7s are down here for your LCD and digitizer and home button. Your 7s and above, and then your prox sensors up here. So this up here, you're going to take the prox sensor off, and those are tri-wing screws. So when you're doing 7s and 8s, make sure to kind of check everything out and be sure that you're using the right screwdriver from the beginning. If you don't, it's easy to strip these screws out. So just kind of make sure and use the right screwdrivers. And again, for most of the stuff I do, I try to use my fingernail so I don't damage anything instead of using something metal, but you can use something plastic as well if you want to do that. This right here is all Phillips, so use a Phillips screwdriver. I will say too, the iPhone 6s video has been uploaded. The orientation of the video was wrong. It was in portrait instead of landscape. I apologize for that. Again, I'm trying to kind of make improvements as we go. Hopefully this one will be better. I know it would probably be better if you could get a side view of some of the things I'm doing, but all 4 screws have been removed. Now I'm getting ready to remove the metal bracket. Again, you want to unplug the battery. There is 4 connections. 1, 2, 3, 4. The battery connection is right here. Right there's the battery connection. So you remove that. Then these are your LCDs and home button connections, and you remove those. And then go ahead and pull the screen out. So as far as the phone itself, you're now done until we get everything transferred to the other screen. So I usually start at the top on these screens and just work my way down. This is like pretty much all your iPhones. This is your prox sensor and your ear speaker, and you got 5 screws that hold that in. They're all Phillips. You just remove those. If you're ever wondering about Apple original screens, a lot of times you will see an Apple logo in a place like this right here, or you can see it on the ribbon cables. It's just an easy way to identify if they're original, and if the LCD and digitizer works, you can always recycle those. Now, on the prox sensor, you want to be pretty careful. I usually try to, kind of get the ear speaker part out first, just to kind of slowly take that out. Then I'll work on the prox part and the ambient light. And again, you just want to take your time on trying to get that stuff out of there. Alright, I'm going to have to pause the video for a second because I have somebody that's walked into the shop. Okay, so I'm back. One of the things I went ahead and done is I pulled the prox sensor out. If that tape sticks to that right here, then just put some Captain tape or something over top of this so it doesn't give an opportunity to short out once it goes into the other screen. Also, sometimes you got to remove a little sticker right here, and that is for the ambient light sensor. You want to make sure and transfer that over to the other screen. So I'm just going to set the prox sensor up there for now. Next thing I'm going to do, there's several screws. There's 5 screws, I think. 3 on this side, and then there is 2 on the other side. And again, I apologize if I'm moving in and out of the video. I'm going to get better stuff to do these videos. Then here's the 5 screws that I was talking about, referring to. Then you will have a couple down here at the bottom that has to do with the home button. So before you try to pull out the home button, you're going to want to do the and before you try to pull out the metal frame, you're going to want to do all these screws. This one particular screw here was a Phillips. All these others were tri-wing, and the 4 screws holding the home button right here are also tri-wing. So just kind of lay them underneath. Take them all out. And if you got screwdrivers that have a magnetic tip, it's a whole lot better, because most of these are magnetic and they don't fly all over the place when you pull them out. Alright. Pull this little metal frame. I just kind of set it here. Then I'll pull out this metal frame as well. You'll have a little bit of a connection here, like tape that's kind of holding that in place. I just kind of lift that up and remove that. So you got that right there, your old screen. The only thing left to get out is the home button. So I remove this right here. I don't think it's really needed, but I remove this right here off because it's hard to kind of get everything. It's this piece that was right here. It's hard to kind of get everything off of it. So it's all it is a little bit of a tape, and that's it. And I'm setting that back here. All right. Now the home button. This is a little bit stressful. On the home button, you do not want to rip it. You do not want to damage it. Now what I use an X-Acto knife to unplug it. I kind of stick it in between, and then use my fingernail and pop it loose. It takes a little experience to get used to it, and it's something that you'll probably want to do a few times with your own phones before you start working on customers' phones. Now I'm going to go grab some isopropyl alcohol. Now what I do, and not everybody does this, but some people do, is they use Q-tip and isopropyl and just kind of dab it in there a little bit. And all that is to help break down this glue, because from the factory they really glue this stuff in there good. And I'll do my best to kind of show what I do, but I go in behind with the blade and I just pop it up a little bit at a time. Like I say, you just kind of want to work it in there and continue to pop it up like that right there until the glue comes loose. The glue is loose there. You push the home button through the front and pull it out. Alright, now you're done with this screen. And like I said, the digitizer LCD worked on this, so I'll recycle these. And we'll basically go in reverse order. When I put the new screen and get it out and get it ready, I'm going to put the home button right back through the front, just like that right there. Kind of get everything lined up. There is a little notch there. You may see it. You may not be able to see it in the video, but when you do one, there's a little notch right up here, and that little hole of the ribbon goes right there. And most of the time, it lines up really nice. So it's a good locator. On this, you just push them through right there. Kind of get everything lined up. And there you go. So that frame is in place. The only thing you want to make sure is that this ribbon is sitting above the frame so it's not holding it back too far. So like that ribbon right there needs to sit above the frame. Alright. So now you start putting screws back in. Usually I put screws into the frame first just to kind of hold that in place, and then I'll do the home button. So I'll put a couple of screws in there. Looks like my magnetic tip is not working real well. I'll set this down. So what I'll probably do is I'll pause this video for just a little bit, and then I'll come back when I've got these screws in.